Split the defense.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? We're actually back. We're actually back on Split the Defense. Leafs post game. The Leafs just lost to the Islanders. Poop the bed. Game 34. While you're here, thumbs up this episode. Subscribe to our YouTube. Leave us a comment. I'm Webby here with CP and producer Ted in the booth. And this post-game show is presented by Laforest Electrical Contractors, serving Kingston and the surrounding area since 2004. Leafs 3, Isles 6. Not a great game. Not a lot of good thoughts. Not a lot of bad thoughts. It's just another game. What are your overall takeaways of the game here tonight, CP?
It definitely looked like a team on the back of a back-to-back. Not a lot of foot speed out there. Not a lot of puck battles won. A goalie that was not willing to save you tonight. Just, poor effort, I think, all around. As we went kind of live there previously, if you're just watching only this video, I guess you don't know, but we had some technical difficulties at the beginning here. But Tad forced me to pick a star. He really twisted my arm, and so I said Willie because he scores twice. Maybe Bobby because you always kind of get the same Bobby, but really it's tough to pick one because just a poor performance.
Yeah, not a great start. 2 goals on 4 shots for the Islanders. You can blame Woll on that. You definitely want those saves. You can also look at the fact that line 3 was on for both of those goals. And like you had pointed out in the past, that line is fun and they may be able to score goals, but they're going to be a liability at certain points. And it seems to be that tonight showed that they are, in fact, a liability. And they gave up 2 goals in the first 5 minutes of the game in their first couple of shifts on the ice. So that's not great. Obviously, you didn't want to break them up because, they've had so much success, and Berube is going to see that as well and going to play that as well. But do you think that the lines kind of went a little wonky tonight because of Austin Matthews not being there. But do you foresee them playing more like they had been against the Sabres and the Stars, or do you chalk it up to being like the Sabres being the Sabres and Jake Ottinger having his worst game probably of the year? Do you take that seriously as that's the Leafs team we're going to see with this third line, or maybe that was just a flash in the pan and this probably isn't going to work out?
Yeah, I don't know. I think in general, I haven't been so high on the last 10 game streak. Even though that the record looks really good, if you were watching every second of these games, it's not going perfectly. And I think that you're getting a lot of wins from goalies, and even the game last night, that's kind of a 5-5 game when you think about it, because there's the open netter. So the Leafs didn't actually get 6, they got 5, and 2 goals actually went in the net and got brought out. So Matt Murray let in 5 goals last night, but only 3 of them counted. And so I do feel like it's been a bit of a lucky stretch, and part of it is just the game style and not letting in a ton of goals. But it seems to be slightly going out the window a bit. I think part of it is the Matthews of it tonight. You lose him when your team's not going to perform as good as they have been, even though you do get these crazy performances sometimes when Matthews is out, but you can't rely on that. And then I just think based on them there's just a bunch of things coming together for tonight to be so bad. It's the poor play recently, it's the back-to-back, it's the missing your captain, But the third line
definitely all adds up.
Yeah, but the third line in particular, I don't necessarily say break them up. It's a third line, and it's a third line you're always going to have to protect. So I think that you kind of have to pick your spots with them. And I'm not putting it all, even though 2 of those goals, the first 2 are on them. It's the play in front of them wasn't amazing, but you also one underneath the armpit, I think you want. There's just Wall didn't play spectacular either. So I don't think necessarily I want to just get rid of everything.
Yeah, and definitely things were a little janky tonight because the lines were all shifted around because Matthews isn't there, like you said. So, I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. You can't take where do you draw the line of, do you take this game seriously or do you take the last three seriously? It's like, I think that you probably have to think that this may be the outlier. Like, those could be the outliers of the, that you had three good games with that good third line, but you drive a good point that missing your captain, playing on the second night of a back-to-back, those things do add up. And, I probably wouldn't overreact and continue to play these three guys together because you do need scoring. Like, you do need scoring. And with Austin Matthews' absence, we had David Kampf join the top six tonight. Now, when I read that, I, like every single person that probably read that, went, David Kampf in the top six? Like, what are you thinking, Berube? And then the game happened, and I went, Craig Berube watches the game much closer than I do. That makes a hell of a lot more sense. He's not the most offensive dynamo. He's not the best hockey player in the world, but he played well tonight. He showed up. He showed out on that Willie line tonight. Willie scored 2 goals, and he was a big part of at least one of them.
Yeah, I mean, every time I see Kampf in any line he's on immediately becomes a bottom six line to me. But like you said, he played fine. I mean, definitely not something I want to see on an every game basis, But I'm not like over the moon about it either, But it wasn't
a bottom six line. It had Nyes and Willie on it. Like,
I know, but it had David Kampf. Yeah, as soon as it has David Kampf, though, it's not a top six line to me. I don't know. I do understand though. He did his best tonight, and yeah, I'd never want to see that on a regular basis though.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So terrible, horrible first period. Not a good start. That's probably the story of the game. They lost it early, never were able to come back. They showed a little bit of life without the goalie, but then got scored on with an empty net. And, bada bing, bada boom. I really wonder, though, they played half a game and there were no penalty calls. Was this the cleanest game in the history of the sport?
I mean, history of the sport, that's a little tough, but I mean,
fuck's sakes, how was there no penalties in like 30 minutes of the game?
Yeah, it's so true. It wasn't like, was there anyone that like stood out to you though? Like, that's the thing, is I couldn't recall one that was like, they should have had a penalty.
Oh, they're definitely, yeah. I mean, I'm not ticky-tacky though, but there was definitely lots, and I can't see everything on the TV screen. I'm not on the ice watching all the guys do their things. I miss a lot of penalties from where I stand. Right? The refs, though, they should be able to see more. So that's why it's even worse when we see them in the refs don't. It's like, holy shit. Like, that's terrible. I'm all the way back here. But there was no penalties in the first half of the game, and it's hella convenient for the New York Islanders because they have the worst penalty kill and the worst power play in the league. So, a little back and forth special teams game wouldn't have been good for the Islanders. And you got to keep those Leafs level, right, NHL?
I don't know. I also kind of can put that on the players, it's like, get in there a bit more, and even like protecting your net, they like to not take a penalty, defending your own net is another kind of, issue. I feel like you just got no guts from the team. And so when you got no guts, there's probably not going to be many penalties because you're not getting into the dirty areas as much. And I don't know. I would say that it's maybe a bit of both there, where maybe the refs had dinner plans and the Leafs gave them no excuse to blow the whistle.
They're thinking about their last minute shopping. They got to get.
Yeah.
Life.
Like, the mall closes.
Full attention. Yeah. It's like, shit. We got to get through this game. We can't be calling penalties and blowing whistles all night long. We got to get out of here. Right.
Yeah.
Last game.
I also
Christmas.
Like, if there's no like specific call though, that like, and I can't think of one, it's hard. Like, I just don't like getting on the refs for no reason. So, yeah, I don't think there was one in particular that bugged me.
No. So I really don't have many more notes for this game. What do you think of Joseph Wool's overall performance tonight? Do you think he was the reason they lost?
No, like I wouldn't say like I'd put it all on them. I thought there was a lot of grade A chances. Like the Islanders were able to just walk in front of the net, and if they didn't have the puck, they were able to just stand there and post up. And yeah, it was an uninspired event from all the team defensively. Like even like the only guy that actually had a little pop to me was Robertson. Like in his own zone, he was actually made some pretty nice plays. Bobby McMahon as well. I thought like you always get the same from Bobby. If the team doesn't perform, it's not because of him, I find. And so yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, of course, Nick Robertson's skating with a little extra pop in his step. He scored 3 games in a row. The
Yeah.
kid's on fire. He's like inspired now. Confidence is shooting through the roof. So yeah, of course that's going to happen. And he's fighting for a job. He wants to score every single game. That way he knows he's secure. Until he scores every single game for 15 games, I don't think he or us would feel secure with Nick Robertson's position in the lineup. But you know he wants to go on some sort of crazy tear, and now that he's got a little more confidence, he looks like he's playing well with it.
Yeah, it's funny how confidence just makes such a big difference in sports. Like across every sport, some are more noticeable than others. Like there's certain ones like golf that if like you don't have confidence, it's so obvious because you can't make a putt, right? But hockey is one where, you know, from game to game it's hard, and because you're not necessarily expected to score every night. And so, but when you go on such a drought like he had, it builds and builds and builds, right? And then the opposite, when you get 3 games in a row, your confidence is so high that it's just hard to deny that the guy's just playing way better. So yeah, confidence is a weird thing with sports. So obvious though.
But with Nick Robertson especially, it's like David Kampf, like Connor Dewar. Like Connor Dewar, we don't expect that guy to score goals, right?
Yeah.
So like he goes 20 games without a goal. Nobody talks about it. Nick Robertson, on the other hand, that guy's profile is goal scorer. So the pressure was certainly mounting. Like these other guys that play a different game can mount confidence doing those other things. Nick Robertson has to score goals to have the confidence, and he has been. And I really think it's went to his legs and helped his performance. Like, you know, I didn't expect him to score 3 games in a row, but again, like, do you put it to like the fact that it was, again, Buffalo in 2 of those games, which they're like on a 12-game losing streak right now. Like, I'm not just shitting on Buffalo. They're really bad right now.
They suck. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, and then Dallas, who like the Leafs seem to have the Dallas's number, and Jake Ottinger, again, like I said, had the worst game of maybe his career, like definitely this season so far. Like it was terrible. He was looking like Joseph Woll early tonight with, you know, multiple goals on only several shots. So, like, I don't really know how much stock you put into that one.
I mean, I think for Robertson, you put stock in it as like it's goals. I don't care who it's against. Like, and that's kind of part of being a goal scorer. Is part of it is on the goalie, and like you see even with Matthews when he had his 60 goal years, it's like the goals that went in that shouldn't have add up too, you know, like where he's on the goal line and just throws it on net and it happens to go in. Like there, a lot of them are pucks that need to be saved, but that's not something you put on the goal scorer. Like he scored, and that doesn't, I think, affect the confidence level at all. You know, it's 1 on the board. And I think especially getting the first one is probably was the biggest, you know, like relief of stress, and then you get 2 more after that, and so, you know, you're just kind of popping off. And I think it's, you know, Domi is one of those guys as well, where, you know, they start talking about his scoring, and like you said, like he's not Kampf where he can build confidence through tough defensive plays. Like he's got to get points on the board, and so you see it from him too, where, you know, he is having a rough stretch. Everyone's talking about him, and he's a guy that's paid. You know, he's not like making a minimum contract like Robertson where he can just be, you know, gone and no one really cares. So yeah, definitely different levels, but it's nice to see Domi's, you know, making plays again. You know, he's not holding his stick.
Shooting more too, much more.
Yeah. Shooting way more. Yeah. And that's going to create offense, even if he's not scoring. Like, and Domi has a wicked shot. So I think that it's weird that he doesn't use it more. Like the puck just pops. You can tell when guys have like a high elite shot, and he is one of those guys. You know, it's not like a Dewar shot. It's not a Holmberg shot. Like, you know, that's edging closer to a Nylander or a Robertson type of shot. It's not quite a Matthews shot, but yeah, it definitely pops off.
So what did you think of the defense pairs being shifted up and kind of back to what they were earlier in the season tonight? Why do you think they did that, and how do you feel about the way they performed?
Yeah, I mean, like I never liked that Riley playing with Timmins, and I wanted to shift up from the McCabe and Tanev together. So I don't mind it. Like, definitely just they didn't play well either. OEL and Riley got beat back on a bunch of plays on separate lines now. But yeah, it's just like McCabe and Tanev didn't play great in front of their nets. I just think in a whole, like, pretty poor performance from the defense. And yeah, but again, like, I do think that this game is just a throwaway. Like, I'm not going to take any player evaluation from it if I'm a coach. It's just like, no one showed up, no one played good. It's more of like you have to learn how to coach the team better in a general sense than a line by line basis. Like, you just need guys to show up a bit more for a game like this. It's still Saturday night. I know it's a back to back, but like, Saturday night, come on, bring it.
Saturday night. Yeah, I know. You can't win them all. You
No,
can't win them all.
yeah.
They played a lot of fucking hockey. Like,
It's
they're getting
easier
real
to-
close to Christmas here. Let's be honest,
Yeah.
they're humans. Like, they scratch their balls just like everybody else does. It's
Oh, God.
it's normal. Like, you're gonna get a little distracted. You're gonna end up thinking about other things and who's coming down and how to get away. And especially guys who have traveled to get in before, like during the holiday, short little holiday stint they get, which is like 4 days long. It's like not much for this, right? So I can see a lot of their heads, just kind of being like tired and out of it. And I understand it makes sense. Like, the whole group, the refs, the players, everybody was just a little out of it. Hell, I'm a little out of it. I can't believe they play again on Monday. Like,
Yeah.
it's been so much hockey. Hopefully, I think it slows down. I think it's been super condensed in this, like, kind of grouping of the calendar here because of the Four Nations, right? And I think that that's going to be a great time, which I don't know whether we're going to be on here talking about Four Nations or not, but I can't imagine we wouldn't. So
Yeah.
yeah. So we will take a bit of a break, but probably not much of one because we'll be doing Canada games. But yeah, I mean, I hope the schedule slows down for them, and I hope that it all just, like, the distractions are going to go for a little while longer here, because after you have Christmas and New Year's, then you're going to have the Four Nations, like, right around the corner, and guys are going to be thinking about that and preparing for that. And, like, you wonder, like, does it affect a guy's game at all going into the Four Nations thinking about not wanting to get hurt so he can represent his country? And, like, maybe, like, not so much somebody who's, like, good and knows they're going to be good, but, like, somebody who maybe is on the fringe, or somebody who's a little bit older might get their last shot doing this. Like, you got to wonder how that affects everybody as a human. So I think that, like, there's going to be distractions for the next couple of months, and I just hope that the schedule slows down and feels a little better after, when is it, like, February here when all that kicks into?
Yeah. One player who's not on the fringe, and I'm starting to wonder about, and it's starting to be talked about a bit, is Matthews in the Four Nations.
No,
What?
don't. Like, he shouldn't play in the Four Nations. No.
You don't think so? Eh? You're on that
He makes
boat?
$13.25 million a year to play for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and he's not healthy.
Yeah. I'm so torn on it, man. I think it's because I'm just as excited as everyone else for, well, it's hard to call it best on best hockey, but for international hockey with a lot of good players there. And I can't imagine him, if he can play, to not play,
I know.
And I know it's like he's still young in his career and he's got a lot of these to do, but I feel like, it might get, if I was him, I would probably play,
He's 27 now. I mean, like,
yeah.
he's not going to have a whole lot of international time.
And like,
So-
maybe he's not at his best physically, but he's in the best part of his, he's in his prime of his career.
Yep.
And so, I mean, that's what my biggest fear is kind of leading up to this. Like, there's going to be a lot of talk about that. I guess it depends on how his play and how this injury develops, but we're talking about a back injury here. And it's really tough for me to see the Leafs Nation not getting really upset if he's at the Four Nations and gets even more hurt. And I mean, I feel like I'm going to be willing to cut him a break. I don't know. We'll see when the time comes and how it goes. But I don't know. It's just, maybe it's also, I'm considering it more important. Like, you're like, check me if I'm just being like too big about this Four Nations, but like, is it not worth it? It's not the Olympics,
It's not the Olympics. It's not worth it.
Yeah, right. Like, I don't know. Maybe I am kind of hyping it up a little too much in my head. I'm kind of
It's a
thinking
Four
through it as I'm
Nations
talking
tournament
about it
with
here.
NHL players. Like, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. It's not what the bread and butter that we're all craving from our past. I understand the Olympics and I get that. And like if he is healthy and 100%, then he should go. If he's like, playing NHL games on a regular basis at a good, level and there's no talk about his health, then I think he should go. But if he's flying to Germany, if he's not playing a couple weeks after he flies to Germany for this surprise treatment of whatever the hell he got there, like who knows? I don't think it's the best idea to put him in that NHL tournament. I mean, marketing and whatever wants Austin Matthews there. The competition wants Matthews there, but like it's not good for us and our hockey team, that's for sure. Not good for our Stanley Cup aspirations, because the last thing you want is an Austin Matthews coming back and with a sore back and he's out sometime. Oh, Austin Matthews might be back for game 1 of the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it's also not good for our chances at the Four Nations if he does play. So, I mean, the best thing for us in general is him to sit out, no question.
100%, yeah, that's the way it should be. Although, is it kind of like cheap at that point? Like, do you feel like the win doesn't mean as much if Austin Matthews isn't there playing at full health? It does cheapen it a bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, but like, isn't the whole thing a little cheap? It feels like kind of fake in general, so I'm not sure I'll care.
I like it. That's fair enough. All right, you got anything else on this game to talk about, CP?
No, you want to talk about Murray for a second, though, before we actually really sign off? Because I'm kind of confused, obviously Murray, the win meant a lot to him. He didn't play the best. But then, he immediately got sent back down to the Marlies. And now Hildeby is now the backup tonight. And so, that kind of defeats the purpose to me of doing the whole thing, because why?
It's a paper transaction. He didn't go anywhere. Do you know where the Marlies are? In Toronto. He went to the same house. He's still practicing with the same team. It's a paper transaction, so that way his waiver exemption doesn't go up, so they can drop him back and forth, because if he stays up in the NHL for longer than 30 days or so many games, then he has to go through waivers again to go back to the AHL. But if they just give him the one game, they can send him right back to the AHL with no waivers. So that's why they did that. It's simply a paper transaction. If they had a team like fucking in Charlottetown, then it'd be different. But they have their team is in, he can report to the team 2 blocks from where he reports to the other team, and he probably won't even show up to the Marlies. Hildeby coming onto the squad because Hildeby can pass through waivers as much as he wants, and Matt Murray leaving the squad is simply to protect Matt Murray, to keep him on this team.
Right. So Matt Murray was an emergency call up. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know if he was
why does he not have to pass through waivers?
Because in order for a player to have to pass through waivers, that's already passed through waivers this season or whatever, that started in the AHL, you'd have to look up the exact rule. But in order for a player to have to pass through waivers, they have to play so many NHL games or be on the active roster for 30 days. I know the 30-day rule, and it's so many games or the 30 days. So if they keep him on and don't put Hildeby in there as the paper transaction, and they play him for the whole, keep him for the whole month, whether they play him or not, which he probably would play still, regardless, if he stays on that roster, he has to now pass through waivers. And if he plays well and somebody needs a goalie, they're just going to take our Matt Murray, who all of a sudden is a found gem, because we did not expect this. If he doesn't play well, then you can just keep dropping him back and forth and, potentially use Hildeby instead, because Hildeby is waiver exempt on his contract. He can just go back and forth, no problem.
Okay, so I do understand now the waivers part of it. I don't understand the games played part of it, though, because for Hildeby to just be standing around not doing anything, and he's not I don't know. You don't have to look anything up. That's not what I don't understand. I'm saying that I don't understand why you started Murray instead of Hildeby. Not anything to do with the rule.
I think he earned it.
No, he didn't earn it. And I think that Hildeby, if you're just going to play him for one game, that's not a great performance. And now just kind of sit him around the locker room and okay, now you can go sit on the bench. It's I'm just thinking about the future of the goalie that's more important, which is Hildeby. And you got a performance from Murray that I guess we found out what we always knew is he's just an average, okay goalie. But I mean, we didn't figure out anything about Murray. I guess that he can get through a game, but we figured that out when he's playing for the Marlies, we're doing him a favor, maybe, that's what my only thought is. It's we're doing you a solid here, but
Hildeby had a pretty shaky game. His last game wasn't great, right?
That's what I said. Yeah.
So like Matt Murray, his game in the same night had a shutout. And he posted like a 938 save percentage over 9 games coming back from his rehab stint in the AHL. He looked good. He's only 31 years old. Like, I think he's a year younger than we are, man. Like, he's not old. Like, he's got time left to play this game, especially as a goalie. Like, they can play well into their 35 years. Like, you know, he got 4 years left easily if he can stay healthy. So if these new hips work, I think you take a shot and see what do we have in Matt Murray, because Dennis Hildeby's young and we don't necessarily trust him. So they were just taking a shot and having a peek at Matt Murray to see if maybe we have something here. And I'm not really sure that they decided they do, but I really don't think it affects Dennis Hildeby, because he's either going to go back and play for the Marlies, maybe take a week off, a couple weeks off, or he's going to play on Monday against the Jets, because they're not going to play Joseph Woll against the Jets. It's just not happening. They're not going to take this 48 hours thing anymore with these unhealthy goalies. I just can't see that happening, because it's not going to be a Matt Murray, Dennis Hildeby tandem for the Toronto Maple Leafs coming out of the Christmas break. That's not happening. And I just know that that's the thoughts of management. So like, that was Joseph Woll's last game before Christmas. And whoever plays, it could be Matt Murray, it could be Dennis Hildeby, but either way, it's like whoever you thought played the better game. Like, who was better in their last game? They both got the wins. Neither one of them were amazing. Who do you play? You're going to play one of them, though. That's how it's going to be.
Right. Like, I feel like I would just go with Hildeby then. Like, Matt Murray is just not a great goalie. You know, I'm not sure what we're trying to find here, but he was good for 2 seasons. And then we've kind of seen, you know, he hasn't been good since like that. So I don't know. Maybe it's, I can't get behind it. If Matt Murray is a solution in this team, I don't see it, but I would rather just get Hildeby going. Like, even though he had a rougher start, like, I would have given it to him if there was, you know, in my mind, it was like, okay, like, you just want to send Hildeby back so he can just get more AHL starts, because, you know, he's probably going to be up here more. But I guess we'll just see how it plays out, and hopefully.
Again, I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow Matt Murray is recalled, and it had Dennis Hildeby switched right back, and he's not going to play games, because I think the Marlies are off now. Like, I don't know if they'll play again before Christmas.
I don't think that Murray is like valuable enough to like warrant the whole, like, I just feel like Hildeby's getting kind of like in this side spot, and like just put him down to the Marlies, and like, who cares about the waivers of Murray, or
I think that's
leave
the
him
hope.
up here.
Well, no, because we do care about the waivers of Murray, because in this situation, like I said, so you lose Murray to waivers, and then Joseph Woll gets hurt, and now you're looking at an NHL tandem of Dennis Hildeby and Artyom Artyomov, or whatever his name is.
No, because he's up here.
Artyomov.
Murray can't get claimed on waivers if he's on our team. And so if you're sending him back down, it's because we got 2 healthy goalies again.
Yeah, I guess that's fair, yeah. But you do get 2 healthy goalies in this situation. Then they both get hurt again. Like, I mean, it's just nice to have the insurance. And again, like, they gave him 1 game. He wasn't absolutely great, but I think they're going to try him again, because, like, who do you feel more comfortable with? A 2-time Stanley Cup winning champion who potentially can come back, who's got similar numbers to a 23 or 24-year-old rookie who really hasn't shown that he's a dominant force in the league. He's been an okay NHL goaltender. So I think if you could use Matt Murray, you'd prefer to put Hildeby down into the AHL and let him go play against, you know, a little bit lesser competition, maybe dominate a little bit more, maybe even just kind of get used to a little bit more of the chaos, because the AHL defense is much worse than the NHL defense. And so, like, I think that kind of just, like, prepares him more and tests him more and gives him more action. And I think that's the hope with giving Matt Murray these starts. It's, they don't really love Matt Murray, but like, you have to do something, because Stoley's out for 4 to 6. He's 4 to 6, bud.
Yeah, that's what I hope we see.
Just because I can't push when I shit?
I don't know what that means. I feel like I would like to see that. I would like to see Murray up here, just, you know, lock him in and don't worry about the waivers part of it. And then, get Hildeby a bunch of AHL starts.
Yeah, I think that's the hope. So they're probably going to get, like, I wouldn't be surprised to see Murray be recalled overnight or tomorrow or early Monday morning, and he's the starting goaltender for the Winnipeg Jets. And, you know, just like hope for the best. The Leafs are still in first place, tied with the Florida Panthers, the exact same record. I can't remember what it is, but yeah, tied 44 points, even, same amount of games played. So there's no love lost here tonight. You still have a chance. You're still in first. Push forward. Whether you win or lose to the Jets doesn't decide the season, and I think it's all kind of about staying healthy from here on out, and that's always kind of been the name of the game all season because it's been a carousel of injured players on this team. Like there's been like 35 guys that have played for the team or something they said tonight.
I also do feel like winning the division is more important this year than it ever has been. And so I do think that wins are important, but yeah, if you lose to Winnipeg, not the end, especially going into the break. You just hope they come out of it, feeling good.
Yeah, hopefully. All right, let's wrap this puppy up. So Monday they play Winnipeg. Games at 2 p.m. I still work like a peasant on Monday, so we will see if I can catch the game. Hopefully I can. And yeah, nice. I'll do my best. I'm pretty good at talking my way out of there. So I'll get here. I guess we're going to do a show. Everybody pray for me to get out of work early. Monday, that's a wrap. Thanks for joining us for Split the Defense. Leafs post game presented by Laforest Electrical Contractors, serving the Kingston and surrounding area since 2004. Leave us a comment if you haven't already. Hit that like button for the buys and subscribe on YouTube and listen to us in podcast form wherever you listen to podcasts sometime eventually. Peace.
Follow the boys on Twitter at STDPWebby, at Craig D. Pearce, and at Ted_is_show.